Liverpool fans, this is huge. A 100-meter midfield move, Osimhen links, and major exit talk. It's all kicking off at Anfield. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a Reds update. Victor Osimhen makes feelings on Liverpool clear before potential Champions League rematch. Liverpool will face either Galatasaray or Atletico Madrid next in the Champions League, potentially reuniting them with an old enemy. Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen. Liverpool will face one of Galatasaray or Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last 16, with the draw to take place on Friday morning, 11 a.m. UK time, 6 a.m. ET. And Victor Osimhen says he would much rather not face the Reds, again having already taken on Liverpool in the group phase. The Turkish side won 1-0 with the Nigerian forward netting from the penalty spot. Galatasaray needed extra time to eliminate Juventus in its playoff tie on Wednesday, even with a 5-2 lead from the first leg. The Italians were also down to 10 men for almost half of the 90 minutes because Lloyd Kelly was sent off. 10-man Juventus scored 3 goals without reply to make it 5-5 on aggregate before Osimhen then found the net in extra time to put Galatasaray back in front again. Barış Alper Yılmaz struck late to seal the tie for the Turkish champion. Osimhen was asked who he wanted to face in the next round, with Galatasaray set to play either Liverpool or Tottenham, and he explained his choice between the two Premier League sides. I mean, to be honest with you, meeting Liverpool now is going to be like some sort of revenge, he said. Live on CBS Sports. Anyone we meet now, I wouldn't say much, but I would like to escape Liverpool. But if they come, yeah, we're going to dig it out, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, this is the Champions League. No team is easy. We can see how Flying Bodo Glimt are really doing in this tournament. If you want to win, you also have to play the big dogs and make a statement for yourself. We've met Liverpool, but we haven't played at Anfield. If we meet them, it's going to be an amazing game. I think we're up to the task. It's not going to be easy, of course, but we have fight in us. Elsewhere, Real Madrid eliminated Benfica, and Atalanta turned around a 2-goal deficit to beat Borussia Dortmund. PSG survived a scare against AS Monaco to narrowly progress. Real Madrid will play one of Sporting CP or Manchester City next. PSG will face either Barcelona or Chelsea. Liverpool.com says it would be preferable for the Reds to get Galatasaray, who should be easier to beat than Atletico Madrid. On paper at least, that would be the more straightforward task for Arne Slot's men. In another news, Liverpool told to sign Fabinho replacement, who has been compared to Steven Gerrard. Liverpool has been advised to sign a Fabinho replacement, who has been compared to Steven Gerrard, though prizing him from Real Madrid would be next to impossible. Liverpool has been told it should attempt to inject fresh life into its midfield by signing a player compared to Steven Gerrard, though such a move would be next to impossible. Former Chelsea and Tottenham star Gus Poyet says his fellow Uruguayan Federico Valverde would be ideal for the Premier League, even though the 27-year-old has no intention of leaving Real Madrid. Poyet believes that Liverpool would be the perfect landing spot if he does ever move on from the Bernabeu, with Arne Slot's side potentially a manlight in the centre of the field as things stand, and with some key contracts to sort out. I would love to see Valverde play in England, Poyet told BetRight. Since Fabinho left Liverpool, they've lacked a world-class box-to-box midfielder. Alexis Mac Allister has shown his class this season, but he could use some defensive reinforcement alongside him and someone who can change the game at both ends of the pitch. Valverde operates all over the pitch, can run for 90 minutes and has great ball distribution. It would be difficult for Liverpool to prize Valverde away from Real Madrid. He came through their second team and has risen through the ranks to become the brilliant player that he is now. Whether they could offer him an attractive enough deal to come to England, I'm not sure, but Liverpool need a Make-Lely-style player who can strengthen their core, and Valverde could be a great fit. Valverde modelled his game on Gerrard when he was younger and a few years ago. His Real Madrid manager, Carlo Ancelotti, compared him to the Liverpool legend. He has a lot of characteristics in common with Steven Gerrard, Ancelotti said. I think he can reach Gerrard's level and beyond. Meanwhile, Poyet is predicting that Mohamed Salah might be inside the final few months of his Anfield career. With every week that goes by, I think Salah edges closer to leaving Liverpool this season, Poyet continued. A month ago, I wasn't entirely sure, but I think the balance has shifted towards a departure in the summer. Under Arne Slot, Salah has found it more difficult on the pitch, and it appears he's lost a bit of confidence. The next month will be crucial for Salah as to whether he stays or goes. Based on his expressions, we could see the end of an era in a few months' time. In another news, Philippe Coutinho, considering two career options after receiving transfer offer, Philippe Coutinho finds himself on the lookout for a new club, with the former Liverpool star having had his contract terminated at boyhood club Vasco da Gama recently. Philippe Coutinho is said to be considering retiring from soccer, although the former Liverpool star has been approached by a club in Russia as he plans the next step in his career. The 33-year-old announced last week that he had left boyhood club Vasco da Gama, having requested for his contract to be terminated. Coutinho had only made his move back to Brazil permanent last summer, having spent last season on loan with the Rio de Janeiro club. His exit leaves him looking for another new club, with his career having struggled ever since he made the move away from Anfield to Barcelona in January 2018. ESPN now reports that Coutinho is weighing up two options: a move to the MLS or retiring from playing completely. The former Brazil international is said to have received an inquiry from CSKA Moscow, although a source close to the player has admitted they would be surprised if Coutinho accepted an offer to play in Russia. The Russian national team and the country's domestic clubs remain suspended from FIFA and UEFA competitions following the nation's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Coutinho's prospects, therefore, are to either make the move to the United States, following the likes of former teammates Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, or hang up his boots. Announcing his exit from Vasco last week, the former Red Star admitted to feeling mentally exhausted, having been recently booed by his own fans as his return home did not go to plan. "I chose to return to Vasco because I love this club," Coutinho said. "I love everything Vasco represents in my life. Wearing this shirt was one of the most important choices I've ever made. And in every training session, in every game, I gave my best. Always. There was never a lack of dedication, never a lack of will and commitment. Being judged by countless people for something that isn't part of my character is extremely difficult. I would never disrespect the fans, my teammates, or Vasco. I've never done that anywhere I've been. Anyone who knows me knows that." At that moment, on my way to the locker room, I felt and realized that my time at the club was over, and I didn't return to prioritize my mental health. That hurts a lot. The truth is, I'm very mentally exhausted. I've always been very reserved, so saying this here isn't easy, but I need to be honest. In another news, Harry Wilson interest, Curtis Jones future, and Alexis Mac Allister exit. Liverpool questions answered. We asked for your burning questions on the goings-on at Anfield, and our chief Liverpool correspondent Ian Doyle provided the answers. The season is about to enter the final straight, and while it hasn't panned out quite as supporters would have hoped so far, Arne Slot's side still have plenty to play for between now and the end of May. Champions League qualification may be the priority, but the Reds will be keen on making inroads in this campaign's competition while also progressing in the FA Cup, with a fifth-round clash to come at Wolves next week. We have been asking for your questions on the current state of play at Anfield, and here we take a punt at providing some answers. Liverpool already have two high-profile right-backs in Jeremy Frimpong and Connor Bradley, and a number of players who can cover successfully in the position, so there was absolutely no chance they were going to make a move for another one in the January window. As for Guehi, that would have depended on the player agreeing as well, which clearly he wasn't minded to. Liverpool were happy to wait for Guehi and sign him for nothing at the end of the season, which in truth Crystal Palace were probably expecting. But nobody envisaged the centre-back injury crisis at Manchester City in January, which was the ideal timing for the Moneybags Etihad side to make a permanent offer for the player that he simply found too good to turn down financially and from a footballing perspective. Had City's injury woes arrived this month, it would have been interesting to see if they'd have gone for Guehi still in the summer. That, though, is all ifs and buts. The reality is what happened, and Liverpool have signed Jeremy Jacquet for the summer already, so clearly new centre-back was a position that needed strengthening. That depends on what the rumours are. If they are ones pertaining to interest in the player from Liverpool, that has certainly been the case in the past. But the prospect of Newcastle United selling anyone to the Reds in the foreseeable future appears as remote as, well, everyone agreeing VAR is a fine introduction and continues to work flawlessly. I've long had a hunch that Mac Allister will leave at the end of the season, with Real Madrid his next destination. However, the player's form this campaign has been less than anyone would have wanted and has seen such talk largely dissipate. But this is a World Cup year, and if Mac Allister has a good one with Argentina, there's every chance Real will be sniffing around him, and with 2 years left on his contract, if a new deal isn't agreed, then Liverpool would have a decision to make should a big money offer come in. I would rather Mac Allister didn't leave though. At his best, he is a fantastic player, and in the long term could link very well with Florian Wirtz. He'd be a difficult one to replace. Difficult. Alisson remains an excellent shot stopper and the world's best at one-on-ones, but there's no doubt he has become a little more tentative with distribution with his feet, which is understandable given his continual hamstring problems. That is a bit of an issue for a Liverpool team that likes to play out from the back. And it's noticeable the Brazilian doesn't regularly take the goal kicks these days. Georgi Mamardashvili has clearly been brought in with one eye on him being Alisson's long-term replacement and has already shown he's more than capable, but he isn't quite operating in the same rarefied air as Alisson at present. As with Alexis Mac Allister and Mohamed Salah, if Liverpool receive a big offer for Alisson in the summer, then they'll have some thinking to do. I'd rather he stayed though, at least for one more year. Well, that's a statement rather than a question. And I have to disagree. Jones is an excellent footballer and Liverpool are probably the best team for his talents to flourish, although he also has the makings of a Manchester City player also. Do his attributes work better in the Champions League and at international level compared to the less technical and more physically demanding Premier League? There's probably a bit of truth in that. Perhaps Jones is hampered by being so versatile in terms of the optics, although that variety has helped him rack up more than 200 appearances for Liverpool, which in itself means there should be no question marks over whether he's good enough. And as always with these things, public comments from his teammates show his value to the squad and the team. His colleagues know his qualities. Jones will always be divisive in the eyes of some supporters because he came through the academy system and didn't cost a huge transfer fee. Wilson will be available on a free transfer this summer, although Fulham haven't given up hope of agreeing a new contract with the Wales international. Given he will be 29 in the summer, there's little chance under Fenway Sports Group's usual transfer policy that Liverpool would be interested if there was a fee involved. Would you take him as a squad option? Absolutely, especially with Liverpool needing to bolster their overall numbers. He knows the club and has plentiful experience at Premier League and international level. Could he be a direct replacement for Salah? That job perhaps will go to someone else. But the real question is whether Wilson would want to return to being a squad player, having been a top-flight regular since leaving Anfield in 2021. In another news, Liverpool told to future-proof their midfield by signing 100 M Midfield Gamechanger as serious upgrade for Hero set to be sold. Liverpool have been advised to hijack the battle to sign Elliot Anderson this summer, with a journalist imploring Richard Hughes to beat Manchester United and Manchester City to the Nottingham Forest star by explaining why he is a superior option to Alexis Mac Allister, Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch. The 23-year-old midfielder has enjoyed a rapid rise since Newcastle decided to offload the player to Nottingham Forest in a 35-metre deal, which was conducted purely for the benefits of FFP. While eyebrows were raised at the time at the fee involved to sign the midfielder, it's a move that has paid handsome dividends for both the Tricky Trees and the player himself. One of the first names on the Forest team sheet, Anderson, has become a regular for England under Thomas Tuchel in recent times, and looks a certainty to be part of the Three Lions squad that travels across the Atlantic to participate in the World Cup this summer. Understandably, transfer speculation over the player's future has followed. With Forest fighting to avoid relegation to the Championship, Anderson's star has still managed to shine brightly, and our transfer correspondent, Fraser Fletcher, revealed earlier this week that Manchester United have now set the groundwork in place for a bumper summer move, and will not be dissuaded by the possibility of needing to fork out a new club record fee for his services. And while we also understand Manchester City are also firmly in the mix to sign a star that Pep Guardiola admires, Sporting Life journalist Sam Maguire has explained why he thinks Liverpool need to get in on the act and sign a player who can future-proof their midfield, explaining how his efforts helped suffocate Liverpool's midfielders over the weekend, as Forest dominated but ultimately slipped to an unfortunate 1-0 defeat. Maguire believes the player that Jamie Redknapp described as one of the best midfield threes in the Premier League this season is perfect for the Reds. Want more breaking transfer lines from original sources? Add Team Talk as a preferred source on Google to your favourites list for news you can trust. Complete midfielder, Anderson is perfect for Liverpool, talking up his assets and explaining why Liverpool would be wise to launch a move to bring Anderson to Anfield. Maguire thinks the 100 million asking price is well worth it for the Reds. In modern-day football, midfielders get placed in buckets. The Forest number 8 could find himself in every single one of these buckets. He's a game changer in every single phase. And against Liverpool, he showed exactly what the Reds are missing, Maguire wrote. He showed why he should be top of their wish list this summer. He showed why the $100 million fee would be reasonable. Explaining the role he could fulfill at Anfield and how he could combine the roles that Gravenberch and Mac Allister do for Liverpool, he added, "Right now, Slot favours a midfield pivot of Gravenberch and Mac Allister. On occasion, Dominik Szoboszlai starts in a deeper role, and Curtis Jones has his time in the XI. All are very good at certain things, but you wouldn't really class any of them as someone who can do it all. Szoboszlai has been unbelievable this season, but he's suited to this hero ball approach he's had to adopt. In a double pivot, he can be lacking without the ball. Mac Allister, for everything he's good at, doesn't have the engine or the physicality to bully opponents now. Gravenberch is a cheat code when pressed, but on ball he is lacking as a passer." Maguire has also backed up our reports that local hero Jones could well be sold, and now faces a huge decision on his future after talks over a new deal stalled. Maguire added, "Jones divides opinion and looks likely to be sold this summer." Finally, in urging Liverpool to future-proof their midfield, he concluded, "Heading into Sunday's game against Liverpool, Anderson had covered more ground in the Premier League than any other player this season. Against the Reds, he had 4 shots and created 2 chances, all while dominating defensively. This season, he's joint top within the Forest squad for chances created alongside Morgan Gibbs-White. He's joint top for expected assists, XA, with Omari Hutchinson. He's rivaling attacking midfielders for chance creation. He's third within the squad for successful dribbles per 90, second for successful tackles, and third for interceptions. The 23-year-old does everything, and he does it well. If Liverpool want to future-proof their midfield and give it something it is desperately lacking, Anderson is the must-buy if money, like last summer, is no object." Latest Liverpool news. Game over for Robertson. 56.6 minutes Swede wanted. Meanwhile, Andy Robertson is now a certainty to leave Anfield this summer, a trusted journalist has revealed, and with 5 clubs likely to battle it out for his signature, the Reds have been linked with an elite 61.2 meters rated replacement to compete with Milos Kerkez. Elsewhere, Liverpool are considering a move to sign a quality Swedish midfielder from Eintracht Frankfurt in the summer transfer window, according to reports in the German media. The German news outlet states it will take up to $65 million, those 56.66 me, 76.8 to convince Frankfurt to sell their star man, who, according to the report, is in a league of his own. In other news, we exclusively revealed on Wednesday that Liverpool are keen to sign an Ajax wonderkid, now viewed as a potentially better prospect than the much-heralded FC20 star Keys Smith. What do you think, Reds? Should Liverpool go all in for Osimhen and a new midfield star? Drop your thoughts below, like the video and subscribe for daily Liverpool news.